Hello everyone, this is Jang Ho from We Lift Weights. Today we'll be taking a look at Miyamoto Masanori from Japan. This is his snatch warm-up from the IWF World Cup that just took place in Thailand, Phuket. Many of you guys know this already, but IWF World Cup was the final qualifying competition for the 2024 Paris Olympics, which meant that every athlete competing at this event was going to lift extremely heavy in order to qualify for the upcoming 2024 Olympics. Now, Miyamoto already totaled 344 kilos last year at Asian Championships. 344 is a very good total for a 73 kilo lifter, and it was a total good enough for him to qualify for the Olympics. Few days out from the competition, I talked to Miyamoto in the training hall and he told me he had no intention of going heavy at this competition. He was just going to lift once in the snatch, once in the clean and jerk and call it a day. But as you will see in this video, he was full of lies. He decided to go very heavy and attempt the national record at this competition. So, as you guys just saw, Miyamoto really likes to take his time warming up. I think he just did 5 reps on his first set with 50 kilos. I think it's very rare that you see a lifter doing more than 3 reps in the warm-up room. If you guys follow Miyamoto on Instagram, you may be aware that he is very good at doing high repetitions in the snatch. I think he's done like close to 20 reps with 100 kilos in the snatch. Also, if you check out the top right corner, this indicates how much time he has left until his first attempt. So while watching these warm-up videos, I noticed that Miyamoto really focuses on pulling that bar high as possible. He would usually start out with power snatches and then start catching the bar lower and lower. If you go back to his very first warm-up with just a barbell, you'll notice that he's really focusing on finishing his pull and extending as much as possible before going under the bar. It's a very good way to warm up for people who tend to cut their pulls short. People who are especially confident at going under the bar tend to cut the extension short as the bar gets heavier. So warming up in this way really allows you to focus on finishing your pull. Here we've got Miyamoto showing off his marvelous farmer's tan he got just 3 days out from the competition when he went to the beach. Oh, and if you like this type of content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps out the channel grow. Miyamoto is one of those lifters that likes to start out with a relatively higher hip position. This is very rare among Japanese lifters. A lot of Japanese lifters tend to start out with a very low hip position. It's also very common among lifters who have a very strong squat. Now, Miyamoto is a type of lifter that has a relatively weak squat compared to his pull, so maybe that's why he starts out with a higher hip position so that he can utilize more of his back and posterior chain muscles. Here the loaders are switching the weight back to 130 from 140 because they realize they have a lot more time left. Miyamoto had his first attempt set at 150 kilos, and there were a ton of lifters lifting about 148, 149, 150. So he had a lot of waiting time. Whoop. We had a fly attack right there, but check out Miyamoto's elbows. He has the perfect amount of overextension in his elbows. I personally think it's a pretty big advantage in this sport. You're less likely to be called out for a press out. Now the bar is loaded to 145 kilos. This is a pretty big weight for any 73 kilo lifter. If you can lift this weight in Japan, you're most likely going to win the snatch session at All Japan Championships. Also, this is just 10 kilos below Miyamoto's competition PR at this point, so it's getting pretty challenging for him as well. Miyamoto still has about 4 minutes remaining until his first attempt at this point, but he has decided to prepare for his first attempt. So here's 150 kilos, just 5 kilos below Miyamoto's competition PR. So here is where it starts to get really interesting. So Miyamoto had 155 kilos set for his second attempt. However, there were approximately 12 or 13 attempts in between 150 and 155 kilos, which is just insane. Everyone was calling for 151, 152, 153. Some athletes were repeating multiple attempts in a row and eventually bombed out, so Miyamoto had so much time in between his first and second attempt. In order to stay warm and prepared for his next attempt, Miyamoto had to warm up a ton. And like I mentioned before, 140 and 145 kilo is not an easy weight to lift for a 73 kilo lifter. And here's a comparison footage of 145 kilo before the first attempt and 145 kilo after his first attempt. He pulled the bar faster on the right. However, he overextended a little bit on the right, so ended up receiving the bar almost at the same time. Now here's 150. He's repeating his first attempt in the back room right before his second attempt. Normally a lifter would be exhausted if they do something like this in the back room, but Miyamoto can just pull it off. And looked easy too. Miyamoto being pissed off because he has to warm up so much. So after about 15 minutes of waiting, Miyamoto appears back on the stage. Here's 155 kilos. This ties his competition record and the Japanese national record. He was so close, but he missed it. Instead of repeating the weight, Miyamoto decides to add 3 kilos and go for a personal record and a Japanese national record. It goes slightly backwards, but Miyamoto hangs on to the weight. There it is, the new national record, 158 kilos. Here you will notice that 150 kilo moves slightly faster, obviously because the weight is lighter. 155 and 158 looks basically identical, except the weight starts shifting slightly to his left on 155, and that's why he missed it. So that is it. A big PR day for Miyamoto. He placed 4th in the snatch right behind Abdullah from Indonesia. If you guys like my content and want to support the channel, please make sure to check out the online store and my Patreon. The links are in the description below. Thank you for watching the video and see you in the next one.